If God is the origin of everything, then what is the origin of God? This verse, Krishna answers that question. He says, Aham Adir, you see in the beginning of the third line. Aham Adir, which means I am original. Original means there is nothing before Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said, that is God. This is what God means. And Krishna himself declares in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Matta parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. There is no truth superior to me. Maya sarvam idam prota sutramani gana eva. Everything in existence rests upon me, the way pearls are strung on a thread. And that thread, that sutra, is Krishna. And Krishna is without beginning. Anadir Adir. He is the beginningless beginning of everything. So then we may wonder, well, how is that possible? Well, first you have to understand that Krishna is beyond possible and impossible. He is absolute. So, Ishvara Parama Krishna. In the beginning of this purport, Srila Prabhupada is referring to the first verse of the Brahma Samhita, which states, Ishvara Parama Krishna, that the supreme controller of all controllers is Krishna. Just like here in this country, in this city, Sofia, there are some controllers, some government men. Although you wouldn't know it by the way things are managed. But anyway, there are some controllers here, and above the controllers on this earth, there are higher controllers in the universe, in the cosmos, called the Devas, the demigods. And then in this universe, there are the most powerful controllers, like Brahma, the creator, and Shiva, the destroyer. But Ishvara Parama, the supreme controller, who is the origin of all these other controllers, is Krishna. And how is it that he can have no beginning himself? Because Satchitananda Vigraha, because his form is eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. And therefore, Anadir Adir, Govinda. Therefore, this Govinda, this Krishna, is the beginningless beginning of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how God is to be understood in His ultimate feature, which is personal. It is this person, Krishna, who is the cause of all causes, the origin of everything. Although Krishna has an impersonal feature, but it is not that this impersonal feature is actually the original cause of everything. So one has to surrender to the person Krishna in order to understand him in full. One cannot know Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada says, by remaining on the material platform. Material platform simply means by depending on my own mind and senses, speculation. Which is limited and imperfect. That way I will only have a limited and imperfect understanding of what is God. Just like, just to explain this point of the different features of God, His impersonal feature and personal feature. There's an example. Of an Indian village, which had a railway line constructed with a train stop at the village, a train station. So people of the village were waiting to see the train. They'd never seen a train before. They'd heard that a train is something wonderful. So they were all eager, all very excited, gathered in the station. Where is this train? Where is this train? So the first train was scheduled to arrive at this village at night. And almost the whole village, except for some old people and babies and nursing mothers, they were there on the platform, waiting. And they were very eager to see the train and also report to their relatives who could not be there personally. Tell them, I've seen the train and it's like this. So they waited, and then at the time the train was to arrive, they first in the distance saw a great light approaching. And they could hear the sound of the train whistle, which was very loud. So some of the villagers, they got so excited by this that they ran back. Oh, I saw the train. They ran back home and they told their relatives, yes, the train is a big light and sound. Others, they waited until they could see, coming out of the darkness, the shape of the train. They could see behind the light there is something very big and long, and it's moving very swiftly with great power. So some of these people then got very excited and couldn't wait any longer and ran home. I saw the train. I saw the train. It has a big light and a big sound, and it's very long and very powerful. But others, who were most patient and most intelligent, they waited till the train stopped at the platform. And they could see that the train has an engine in front and many passenger cars behind. And on these passenger wagons, there are people. And you can also come aboard the train and take a seat. So these persons who waited for the train to stop and reveal itself, they could understand what is a train in full. The others who could not wait for the mercy of the train, who depended only upon their own power of perception, they could not get full knowledge. So exactly in the same way, there are three features of God, of the Absolute. The first is impersonal, which is called Brahman. And the Brahman feature is noted by light, the Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual light, and also sound, the sound Om. The second feature is called Paramatma. And Paramatma feature is semi-personal. There is some idea there that God has a form. And that God is all-powerful. But still it is not very clear. So these two features are understood by, first, Jnanis. They understand Brahman. Jnani means those who follow the path of speculation. And yogis, the mystic yogis, they can know the Paramatma feature. But you see, both of them are depending upon their own powers of perception, not upon the mercy of God Himself. It is the bhaktas, the devotees, who, like the people in the village, they wait upon the mercy of Krishna to reveal himself in full to them. So the bhaktas, they know that God is effulgent, full of light. They also know that God has a form and is full of power. But furthermore, they know him as the all-attractive, supreme, transcendental person. Krishna, Govinda. He has these names, and these names are none different from him. In fact, it is through his name that he reveals himself to us. So, it is to him, to this Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that we must surrender. As mentioned here, the great demigods and sages, they all surrendered to Krishna. So, why shouldn't we? Who are we compared to them? Why did they surrender to Krishna? Because whatever power they may have springs from but a tiny spark of Krishna's splendor. So their powers, their power of speculation, their power of perception, obviously fails before Krishna's power. So what else can they do but surrender to Krishna? There's another nice verse in Brahma Samhita which says, Bhashvan yata sakaleshu nijeshu teja sviyam kiyat prakatati atat api. It explains that the rulers of this world, the great sages, beginning with Brahma, they're compared to a certain kind of jewel. This jewel is called Suryakanta. It's an effulgent jewel which has absorbed the light of the sun. You see, in the ancient Vedic civilization, there were no electric light bulbs. But still, homes, palaces were illumined at night by Suryakanta gems. These gems glowed with the effulgence that had been absorbed from the sun. So, today nobody knows what is a Suryakanta gem. But although it sounds very wonderful, anyway, what is such a gem compared to the original sun? if we had such a gem here, maybe it would illuminate this whole room very nicely. But the sun illuminates the whole universe. Huh? And indeed, the point is that the light of this gem is derived from the original light of the sun. So whoever is powerful in this world, even up to Brahma, who is the creator of the whole universe, he is compared to such a gem, which has gotten its effulgence from the original source of light. So in actual fact, the controllers of this world are only imitation controllers or reflected controllers. But you see, this world of Maya, illusion, means the world where we are most fond of imitation. We like imitation more than original. Just like if a man is able to imitate very perfectly the barking of a dog, he will become popular. He will be invited on the television. There are men who are very expert in making such sounds, dog barking, cow mooing, or something else. And they go on the television and they make these sounds. And people, think, he is so wonderful. Although every day you can hear a dog barking. But that they don't notice. This man is imitating. So wonderful. Or a machine, a computer, for instance. A computer can be made to imitate talking. And that's considered very wonderful. Every day we're hearing talking. But if a machine makes the same sound, everyone come and see. And similarly, scientists, they're trying to create life in the test tube. From time to time, it's announced in the newspapers that the scientists have come one step closer. But life is being created in millionfold every moment. Millionfold. Millions and millions of examples are there. By nature. It's happening all around us at every moment. That we don't notice. Well, that's normal. But if some scientists can manage to make something, they haven't made life yet, but they make what they call steps to life. And he comes out with his test tube. Everybody, oh, very nice. Snap, snap, snap. Give us an interview. Front page of Time magazine. So similarly, this material world, this place we live, is a big fool's paradise. It's a big imitation of the actual world. World means the transcendental world, the eternal abode of Krishna. In the Vedic scriptures, the spiritual world is called the Chid Jagat. The Chid Jagat means the world of spiritual substance or reality. And this material world is called the Achid Jagat. Achid means it is a world of illusion. But we are so much absorbed in this imitation world. For us, it is all in all. Although there is no satisfaction here. Just like now, everything has stopped in Bulgaria because of the elections are coming. Elections means they're voting for new Ishwaras, new controllers. Because the old ones didn't bring satisfaction. So, yeah, because you've accepted imitation Ishwaras instead of the original real Ishwara, Krishna. Therefore, you have to vote them in, vote them out. And whoever you vote in, what will they do for you? They will just spend your money imitating Krishna. Pretending that they have some power. When actually they have no power. They're not any more powerful than you or me. They're not really doing anything. They're not maintaining us. Maintenance means sunshine, means rain, it means air. Means food, means minerals. And these all come from Krishna. And what these so-called Ishwaras are doing is just mismanaging Krishna's opulences. See, in this world, we have declared ourselves the false proprietors of Krishna's energy. And in this way, we become very expert in mismanaging everything. And thus Krishna cuts the supply off. Just like now, here in Simeonovo, there's no water. Of course, water, this energy, this is Krishna's own power. He can produce unlimited water in an instant, flood the whole universe. Sometimes he does that. But when his energy is mismanaged, he cuts off the supply. And this mismanagement is what is called sin. Actually, you want to know what sin, the word sin means? It means this, to mismanage Lord Krishna's energies. Just like if you have a job with the company and you're given the duty of managing some company funds. Similarly, Krishna has given us this human body and the resources of nature to use properly in His service. But if we waste these resources, this body, if we try to steal them from Krishna, claim them as our own, then we will be punished. There are laws governing this nature, and they will punish us. So when we speak of surrender to Krishna, it means to manage things on Krishna's behalf. That's what surrender really means. It does not mean, as some people think, that when everything is hopeless, when you've failed in all of your own plans, then you throw up your hands and say, "Okay, God, I surrender." Like a criminal, who's tried to escape the law. Finally, he cannot get away, and he goes, "I surrender." It doesn't mean like that. In Bengali culture of Bengal, which is a state in eastern India, there's a number of jokes, many jokes about a person named Gopal Ban. He's kind of like funny character. So there's one joke about Gopal Ban which illustrates this fool surrender that we're speaking of. So Gopal Ban, he somehow or other managed to get a big basket full of flour. I mean, flour means what you make bread from. Yes. And the person who gave him the flour said, "Gopal, I'm giving you this in charity, so you should offer some portion of this to Govinda, to Krishna, because it's coming to you by His grace." But Gopal, no, he had his own plans. He was thinking, yes, I will take this home and put some part of it in my storeroom and sell the other part and make so much money. He had so many plans in his mind. So he was going down the road, and as they do in India, he had the basket of this flour on his head. And he was going down the road, and his mind was full of so many plans. And suddenly a great gust of wind blew all the flour out of the basket, and it went, like a cloud with the wind through the fields. And Gopal looked at it and he said, "I offer it to you, Govinda." So this is not surrender to Krishna. Real surrender to Krishna is explained in this Bhagavad Gita in verse 5 of chapter 15. Here we see, in order to surrender to Krishna, there are many qualifications that have to be fulfilled. So the Lord says, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So of all the qualifications for surrendering to Krishna and going back to Godhead, the first is nirmana in this verse. Nirmana means without false prestige, or without pride, without being puffed up, thinking I'm great, I'm very advanced. In other words, it means humility. So this is how we can come to know Krishna, through humility. By admitting that we are limited, that we are helpless, and that we are fully dependent on Krishna for everything. By this nirmana, we can begin to surrender to the Lord properly. And to such surrendered souls, then, Krishna reveals himself as he is. Are there any questions? Yes?
You mentioned about impersonal myself. Does that also include the material energy?
You heard his question? The material energy, yes. Yes. The material energy is considered to be impersonal, in the sense that the forms and features of this material world are reducible. reducible. In other words, they break down to atoms and to just stuff. They break down into stuff, impersonal stuff. You see, in the material world, we have a conception of persons as being the people we know, these material bodies, our own and others around us. But these bodies are formed out of impersonal stuff. Various material elements. For some time, they appear to be personal, but then they'll break down again. So yes, this material nature is also included in the impersonal feature. Yes. How do we see, his question is, how do we see Krishna's person within this material world? Yeah, so this material energy is compared, in Brahma Samhita, the word chaya is used. It means shadow. It is like Krishna's shadow. Just like the shadow of our body is sometimes manifest and sometimes not. In the daytime, you have a shadow. But if you go out in the middle of the night, there's no shadow because everything is dark. So similarly, this material world, the form of this material world is based on the original eternal form of Krishna. And sometimes, just like our shadow, it is manifest and sometimes not manifest. So, actually everything ultimately is personal because everything originally comes from Krishna. So it's a question of the depth of our understanding. The Buddhists, for instance, they're impersonalists because their understanding of things only goes that far. They break everything down to shunya, to void. And their knowledge doesn't go beyond that. But the followers of Bhagavad Gita can understand that beyond even this void, this broken down state of everything, there is an origin. There is a positive origin. And that positive origin is Krishna. Any other questions? Yes? In Mecca, yeah. Well, I don't know what this Kaaba is. It has been worshipped in Arabia since before, long before the time of Muhammad. In that Kaaba, that temple or whatever it is, there were originally this stone, this black stone, and some 360 other deities, other demigods that were worshipped. And so when Muhammad conquered Mecca, he was banished to Medina, and then he raised his followers into an army and conquered Mecca. Then he had all these other deities destroyed, except for this black stone. He said the black stone is Allah. Now, whether the black stone is a Shalagram Shila or a Shiva Linga or something else, I don't know. There's some people who speculate. But we try to discourage speculation. So I will say simply, I do not know. But anyway, Muhammad, who is the prophet of the Muslims, says that this is the worshipable form of Allah. So every year millions of pilgrims come there to kiss the stone. That's how they worship the stone. They kiss it. That's why I rather hope it is not a Shalagram Shila. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Yes. Because there are too many gem thieves in this world now. There are too many rascals. Therefore there's so many wonderful, you find so many wonderful descriptions of the way things were in the Vedic times. And these descriptions no longer correspond to the way things are now. Because people have degraded so much. So therefore, material nature withholds its supply of wonderful bounties, wonderful features. The Srimad Bhagavatam informs us that in future, most of the vegetation will die on the surface of the earth. There will be no grains, no milk, no sugar. People will feast on their own grandfathers. And now they discuss about how to solve the problem of overpopulation. And there are some who recommend, some so-called learned people who recommend that the old people, they're useless. They should be killed. So we learn in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the day will come when not only will the old people be killed, but they will be put on the table for the young people to eat. Because there won't be much else to eat. So this is all because people are so degraded today. And it's getting worse. Anything else? Yes? Yes, this is from the first verse of Shikshashtakam. The Sankirtan movement, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan, is glorified in 7 ways in the first verse. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadvagni Navab. You can go through the verse and find them. Okay. All right, so everyone must be hungry by now. When you mentioned this 7 flames, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he spoke of 7 tongues. The Sankirtan movement has 7 tongues, meaning the same thing. So I think some of our guests here may be so hungry that they feel like they have 7 hungry tongues. So it is time to take Shri Krishna Prasadam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Lord Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.